Ladies and gents, we've got an awkward situation here in Dry Arabia. Welcome back to the channel for a top 3 civ up against a bottom 3 civ. That's right, Ottomans in the hands of B, HRE for Beastie. Now, Ottomans, there's still experiments going on. B is a very creative player, but there's no denying that, like, statistically on paper, if you ask most people, they're going to go hard on HRE. You can already see it in the betting. I think this might end up being the most skewed we've had so far. But B has to have something in mind. It's kind of crazy, like picking Dry Arabia when you know your opponent has HRE. What else could he have expected here? Maybe he suspected Delhi. Delhi would have actually made sense to the auto pick because, like, Delhi versus Ottomans, Ottomans have a really solid all-in timing. I'll have to see what he wants to do. I'm kind of going through it in my head. Like, for Ottomans, usually if you want to play feudal, you're thinking around Sipahi. The tricky part about Sipahi plays, HRE with marching drill spears blocks you really effectively. So definitely gonna need some creative. Looking at the spawn, double deer stack actually close smushed together here. So what B could do with this opening spearman is look to rally the deer on top of each other and then maybe try to shove him from there. If he manages to get even close to his base, he can probably completely bypass pro scouts. Like, you could even do something creative, like just building a small wall in front of the stone and gold to secure. Kind of surprised, actually, we haven't really seen anyone trying to wall in deer after shoving them close together so far. Funnily enough, B was in our chat the other week trying to big brain with one of those ideas. Kind of felt like I was being sold a scam, you know? I felt like someone was trying to give me some snake oil because he still hasn't done it in his games yet. I can come from Beastie. You could try to harass to this initial military school unit, but the timing is just terrible. Like, your opponent already has the gold he needs. In theory, one spearman could maybe ruin HRE's timing for a fast castle build, but HRE just has so much flexi to play feudal. Like, you achieve nothing by attacking with the spearman. So he's going to wrap around the back. He's going to start shoving the deer. Sheep haul is going to be 14 sheep to 10. But Beastie's been gathering through that sheep quicker with the prelate buff. So overall, I'd say they're quite even Stevens on sheep split. There is still more in the corn. Really? None of it? Dude, sometimes Dry Arabia spawns puzzle me. And B with the Sultan Hani. This is Pro Scouts. B loves doing the Pro Scouts build right now of Ottos. It's going to be slower than Beastie's, though. Maybe B is playing off of the assumption that Beastie's going to open with Spearmen, because a lot of HV players do that at the moment, where they begin racks and then go stables on a delay. But yeah, Beastie does see what he's doing. This should be alarm bells going off in his head that is going to be a Pro Scouts race. If B wins this, I'm going to be rich. Yes, rich with those virtual points that there's not really anything you can do with. But hell yeah, make that moolah. So B's win condition, what is it in this game? Is there a world in which he all-ins feudal? Because, like, by going Pro Scouts, Beastie is going to slow down his aggression timing. And he's prioring Pro Scouts entirely, by the way. Like, he just queued it up. Would be in Goward, I imagine, is going straight into stables. B, he's still shoving some of the deer home, by the way. Yeah, even 4 deer is quite a lot. That's 1,400 food. More than what you'd need to go into Castle Age. We're gathering as it stands. Yeah, there's the mill. I think we are going to be seeing the Pro Scouts off here. B has to know that his timing is going to be weaker for this, though. I think he's just trusting in the power of the opening spears to protect him. Because BC shouldn't necessarily be able to rush over and take these away, if you're paying attention. Right now, the problem is, the spearmen are kind of a little bit busy, guys. You know, they can't come to the phone. Can make KP buff those points? Oh, no. Oh, there's the stables coming. Scout is trying to get cheeky here. Does at least shove one away. That does mean he's not picking up, though. Huh, interesting. B didn't even send a single spear. I'm starting to doubt it's Pro Scouts, but, like, why else would you build a stable, right? The reason why I have some doubts is at this stage, like, the deer is so close to home, it's probably better to stop this from happening than to shove the deer in further. Then again, like, you will be able to now immediately pull your villagers across onto deer instead of waiting for the first ones to come home. Speaking of which, Beastie's already now being dropped off, so we'll be able to switch over onto the good stuff. And the Archer play, now following this up. Racks as well, so smart by Beastie. You really want to do for the 1-1 here. You know your opponent is likely going to be following up with Sipahi. It's just their best unit. So you don't want to leave yourself exposed when you play Archers. And there you go, guys. Confirmation in. So the way you can kind of suspect that you're going to see Pro Scouts, at least from B, is when he goes Sultan Hani. Whenever he goes Sultan Hani, he's usually thinking about Pro Scouts because of the passive gold gen to get you there a bit cleaner. But the difference is what? Minute and 30? That's a huge window of opportunity for Beastie. And remember, he did take one of the deer away from here. So realistically, as long as he gets his own deer, he's ahead on overall gains from this play. And he'll still potentially have a window to contest B on the other side of the map. Is there value in contesting B, though, versus Gishko Castle? Because Ottomans, I don't think they can keep up with the castle timing if HRE just fully commit to it. Instead, though, we do have Spears and Archers scaling. So Beastie may be a bit more interested in blocking B's timing here. Reason why Beastie would do this, he knows that his opponent's probably going Pro Scouts, but it's always going to be delayed. On top of that, the other interesting thing about this type of play is, like, you could argue that Castle Age is free for Beastie. Yeah, but then your opponent has passively genned some Sipahi and he can block your relics. It just overall feels a lot safer to try and block B's play now, especially considering the location. What Beastie's seeing on the map is an insanely overloaded side of the spawn. It's open territory with double gold vein, double deer. If you're able to camp here, you stop all of B's plans. Stop him, he will. Marching Drills just gets him across so quickly. Wait, he went for the Imam point. B, was he not expecting Archers? That's insanely dangerous. He's actually quite fortunate that they're not getting chased right now. No, instead, Beastie chooses the double damage onto the Spears, now turns around onto the Scouts, goes to the Imam, and that's gold idled. Okay, so B, he does have passive gold gen. He has enough for Castle, but he's getting outright blocked here. Yep, all the Scouts going down. You know, it's crazy how much better Ottomans could be in the Pro Scouts meta if they had one single change, chat. Do you know what that change would be? Military schools. Do you notice a unit that is missing from here? Imagine how decent Ottomans could be. Not even great, just decent, I'd say. They don't have to be insanely good. They need to be competitive. Imagine how competitive they could be if Ottomans were able to produce scouts out of a military school. Instead, you have to wait until your feudal age, build a stables for 150 wood, and then pay 65 food per. It's such a slowdown in your timings. Now, people are going to be, that's insane. Like, that's insane, KP. You can't let them do that. Oh, I mean, producing a scout every minute-ish for free sounds kind of OP, but, like, it's still going to be delayed compared to Roos producing those out of hunting cabins. And hunting cabins pay you to build them anyway, while costing less than half of what a military school costs. So I'd argue, like, overall, it's not that crazy of an idea. It would be kind of hilarious to see Ottomans getting banned again. Beastie now ready to try and ban B from the grand finals here. Very dominant position to find himself in. B is looking to get the men-at-arms out, but very limited on where he can build because of the landmark and the military school. So kind of risky when he walks out like this against Archers. Beastie is getting ready for castle himself with full map control, and he even snatched extra deer away. Yep, that is the most pressure that Beastie's economy has faced in 10 minutes in this game. So what does B see his win condition as? Well, I think he built the men-at-arms to stabilize. You don't really rely on men-at-arms to win this game. That's a quick way of, like, losing against HRE. Because HRE, with Pro Scouts as well, they can just basically flood men-at-arms with heavy maces, which will beat you. So B's getting a front line together, but this is the backbone of it. Crossbowman is what he'll win or lose the game by. Wallah is going to be a big fat whiff. This one Imam down. Other one is making his way downtown. Not moving fast. Actually moving quite slow. But he might be homebound. Beastie is looking. I'm sorry, I had to do that the full way through. Oh my god, is he going to get it? Yeah, good idea. He needs to go wider, though. Beastie, he's fishing for it. He knows. That's quite crafty. He already checked the central relic. He's already had this guy around the back here. And then the northern one, like your opponent would take the center one first. So the reason why Beastie knows he doesn't have to protect this relic is you never go for your safe relic first if you think you have map control of any type, or you think your opponent doesn't have full map control. You take risk, because to take this relic is basically saying HRE can have the other 4. So what does Beastie do? He reads it for what it is, he intercepts the central relic, and then knows there's only one logical location left, and it's south side. Sick play. He does have a healthy amount of men-at-arms. Didn't go for the meta movement speed, right? Which would have actually been really good. I sometimes think the meta movement speed is quite underrated with men-at-arms play. The Vizier point that increases the movement speed is actually a big deal. It allows you to basically marching drills. So B is going to chase across map, but Beastie has plenty of time now to react with the archer rangers into crossbows. B. Where there is darkness in the universe, there is only one force that could illuminate. Springles now getting queued up out of the MIA. Hey, we've seen him do some dirty things with these things before. I wouldn't write him off. Pretty smart against HRE in particular. At this stage, you don't see many HRE builds with Arkin that necessarily involve mass knighting. Especially against Ottomans. Like, Ottomans kind of feel pseudo-buffed by that detail. That, like, most civs aren't going to go cav against them, so Springles feel better overall against all the opponent's units. This fight does not feel good overall, though. Men-at-arms on men-at-arms clash. The HRE ones are still early, though. They haven't been vetted yet. The Wallalow, however, beat. He actually turns around to wall up and down. Will just about get him. But if he just gets another Wallalow, he can just force the full retreat and kill him. That's exactly what he's going to do. Wait, guys. Guys. Okay, so you killed the prelates. But it kind of costs you a lot of men-at-arms. Crossbow count still scaling. We do at least have the first Springwood out. This should be enough to scare Beastie away. Has to respect the free siege. The problem is siege can't come out in a rush. So B definitely knows he's not dead yet, but definitely has to feel like he's on the clock. The Vizier points is giving him advantages. He's using that to get into the extra military schools. The negative of his position, though, is that this is looking like a 4, if not 5 relic HRE game. Which, in most of Twitch chat's eyes, is a giggy. Like, if you polled Twitch right now, 90% of them would call that a GG. Obviously, AoE 4 is not that linear. There's a lot of branches. It is a grim position, though. B needs a counter solution. I wouldn't be surprised if he just like continues to slowly scale Springles and rely on that. Passive gen is at least going to allow him to compete. And Beastie already now is performing the farm transition, right? This is like the weakest point in the game for him. Yeah, you wouldn't think it looking at the military. Oh, good lord. Crossbows diving even deeper. B. He doesn't want to run because he knows what that means. The Wallalow is just being done almost like a BM at this stage. The Mangonel going to be going down. Honestly, B, he was so reluctant to give over this relic, but I'm not sure it was worth the engagement for him. Beastie will eventually get cleared up, but reset the siege. Got the relics. He's even looking to snatch the one on the wide flank. If he Wallalows straight away. Nah, too late now. Just in case you didn't know that he's losing the relic game. Nice guy Beastie yells it loud enough so you know. Ottomans relics are just their military schools anyway. Interesting. So what is the Archon? Oh. I'd call that the relic factory by comparison. That's one of the tricky dynamics. Like, we can't just look at this raw village account. You're correct, because military schools make up for a difference. However, Beastie, by comparison, you know, at this stage, has prelate buff, like, what? We're talking about 33 of his villages? 36-ish? All buffed by the Archon for 40%. So he's getting, like, an extra, what, 15 villages there? Pretty ludicrous. I'd say military schools at this stage are worth... Is it like 120 resources a minute, I think? Which, if you think about the fact we said, like, what, an extra 15 villagers? A villager is going to be worth, like, 45 resources each. Maybe 50. It's fair to say that HRE is still a little bit better off. Now, eventually, the Archon will have to push people out of range. At that stage, usually the players replace the woodworking or gold working, whatever they had, with 35 to 40 farms. So B is probably now just looking to hunker down and play a later phase of the game. The worry he has to have in his mind is that Beastie could just go Imperial now. And there's not much you can do to stop that from just camping. B is looking like he's getting ready for either a TC play or a keep drop. I think a TC play feels admittedly necessary, but quite worrisome as well. Luckily for him, no vision on it right now. If Beastie does rotate with this knight and sees this play, though, he has two options, right? You either all in or you cut production and go Imperial. I think Beastie could quite reliably just go Imperial off of this. Diving might be a little bit more difficult because he's like massing men-at-arms, crossbows into Springles. And Springles do counter both of those units, funnily enough, guys. You'd think that Springles were designed to counter the men-at-arms. True. However, here's the interesting thing, guys. Springles base damage is 16, extra 10 against melee. So not even double damage against melee, yet these men-at-arms have about double the health of crossbows. You see the conundrum now, don't you? That Springles can kill both of these things. Beastie is going to start poking, though. Oh, no. The men-at-arms knights got in. Okay, so he knows about the second TC. Moment of truth. Beastie, either option probably feels like it works in his eyes. I mean, the walls aren't up yet, so theoretically you can get in. He's going to be going siege engineering, so this is going to be a full commitment down the center. That does resolve some of the concerns around the choke point fights. Because for B, all he needs is enough troops to hold these small choke points, and then Springles win. Funnily enough, is it me, or is that stockpiling that I'm seeing happen right now? The stockpile is full, my lord. Yeah, because that man is getting ready for Imperial. So if both of these players get fully fleshed in Imperial, I want to say the Ottomans actually do quite well. However, they are not comparative, right? This is like me talking about my gym going efforts at physio and then looking at Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's gym. Like, we are not the same. Okay? For a start, I'm 100% natural. Whoa. No, like, it's not fair to compare, like, the arrival in Imperial. Beastie is going to be so much more accelerated getting there. B is going to be quite fearful for his life still. If he just tries to rush Imperial naked now, he could get dove. Top of that B. Isn't even really fully aware of what's happening. He is seeing some stone gathered. So he's assuming this is a hunker down now. Like, otherwise, why would Beastie have stopped attacking? So, wipes the sweat from his brow. That does mean that B is able to start fleshing out his farms. He's got 2 TC rolling. 2 TC is really not going to compare to 4 TC, which is what Palace of Swabia bumps you up to from 1. The worry for B now is, like, map control as well. If he stays in his base too long, the big gold veins are going to be locked in. And that really is going to secure the late game. Because Ottomans can get all these units for free. They can't buy the upgrades for them for free. Beastie going for the clash. B is going to shove him back. Got to respect the Springles in particular here. Elite techs have already been queued. B knows he has to follow suit now. He has walled himself quite a bit. In fact, he will go for the full wall in before fully committing to the tech up. And that's important because if you're open, it has to be a defensive landmark. If it's a defensive landmark, you might as well not even play this game. I don't really feel like Seagate Castle's an option these days. You'd think so for trade, but it's just so hard to justify, especially with these type of spawns. And Istanbul Observatory still feels maybe a little bit too good. Which is dangerous to say out loud because you're basically saying, like, Ottoman, this landmark is too good. It's almost like you're encouraging them to nerf it when this Civ isn't doing well competitively. Cannon placement on the way. An ambitious attempt by B to take this down. Sprue shots off to a good start there. Beastie, he's actually going to forfeit it over. No cannon placement whatsoever. It's kind of funny, actually. Like, cannon placement first would have made B incapable of taking the fight, but it's such a gamble. And, like, fortification is always safer to do first because of the difference in costs. Right? Like, fortification is going to cost you 100. Or 80, sorry, if you're HRE, even cheaper. But a cannon emplacement is going to be a lofty commitment. The 300, right? Yeah, look at that. 300 stone, 100 gold. That's with the discount. Now, despite the best efforts of B, and the fact he did take away the Secret Site win condition, Beastie has now secured the 8k gold. Other one is still up for contests. B does have enough stone to actually go for a keep drop himself. For the time being, he's going to be coasting off of the back golds, because he still needs to pull the trigger. And there we go. Trigger pulled. Istanbul Observatory now on the way. I just kind of love that this is not just a gold to bronze rank thing, you know? Can we just, like, appreciate that? That it's kind of beautiful that we actually get high ranking players doing this as well. I mean, there's nothing else to build here, right? Just get it all out of the way. It doesn't interrupt your farming later on. You put houses on the edge of the map all the time. I mean, when the game first came out, it was legit just kind of like a gold rank thing. If you remember in the low elo cast, we used to call it like the housing district. You know, because you don't want your people living where they work. That just really just dampens the mood. And also, like, especially for the Ottomans, think of the chickens, man. Think of the pollution in the air from the gold mines. It's just unfair. Oh, this looks unfair. Men at arms. Breaking in the base. Look at where the army is right now. Does peel the crossbows, but they are very slow to arrive here. Be in a fragile state after choosing the age up at this moment. Some idle time achieved. No worker kills so far. Could end up changing though. Yep, because one man at arms did sneak in up here on the gold. Hasn't gone noticed so far. More are now rippling into the farms. Meanwhile, pressure on the front side is keeping B distracted. Crossbows do finally arrive, but the kiting is real here. The men at arms stable to move away. And still, B doesn't know. This is like the perfect dream situation. Not having to move as a melee unit. Okay, so like, this is what I've been talking about before, chat, about the idea that I wish the animations were more, like, expressive or, like, exaggerated. In some ways, you can believe why he's not killing them in one hit, but my god, does that look, like, pathetic. It's like, oh, I really don't want to kill these people. Kill them, men at arms. I really don't want to do it. Just do it. I don't want... Beastie's eco lead now building. It's 3 Sacred Slides locked in again. This time, I think he has got the emplacements. Yup, keep dropping the center. Another one coming on the south side to secure the 8k gold. This is not going to be easy for B. He has got a Great Bombard on the way. But Great Bombards aren't exactly what they used to be. I think they should be renamed to Mid Bombards. Beastie does already have the Culverins as well as like an anti-snipe measurement. Culverins, which did just get a buff, by the way. It wasn't a crazy number increase, but they went from 35 base damage to 40. So they're a little bit better at sniping out enemy siege weapons. What nerf did they do to the Great Bombard? I can't remember the exact stat changes. There were some alterations. It was... Chat, correct if I'm wrong. They basically moved most of the damage to bonus against infantry only. It's like in the late game, that's kind of rough against Horseman Flood, right? It was kind of needed, though, because of the change they made to Springles. Springles not being a counter anymore. We are back again. Don't tell a friend. Hand cannon is getting added in as well. We do at least have Janissaries massing for B. Elite Army Tactics on the way. This did get changed, by the way. Some people will be happy about this. it got altered around. It used to be that it gave the armor. They reverted it back to giving health again. So more of a jack of all trade type tech, whereas before it was a specific counter type tech. Oh man, and Beastie is breaking in everywhere here. Doesn't have the elite army tactics himself yet. He just has the Zerg tactics. It still outrange everything? Yes, but remember the pack-up time is very, very long. Tricky game. B knows he needs to make a breakout. He's probably assessing his options right now with the Great Bombard because he can't afford many. He's lacking gold to just farm up multiples. At this stage up here, he has what? Less than 1,000 left? Not great. So massing extra Great Bombard is not feasible. The first one needs to hit. So what he needs to try and do is like find where Beastie's not going to be. And that does involve vision. What would be pretty cool for B is if he maybe had a few scouts coming out just so he could assess his options. Because like right now, he's punting blind onto any of these three options. Yes, he saw them before when they had an outpost or a keep. He doesn't know how extensive Beastie's defense network is now, though. This is just relentless. B now going into Mass Sipahi. I mean, is the goated unit. I'd say Sipahi is like the best unit Ottoman have in their full arsenal, even better than Great Bombards. Tricky thing is Beastie's already aware. He's got Spimmin coming. This will at least allow him to potentially go for a decap, but Beastie is stripping options away. Just out of vision, getting those walls set up. So north side doesn't have to be guarded anymore. Reverting AT was a good decision. That extra melee armor was rendering some units useless. Agreed. Like, I think we said when they first made that change, like, while I like that they're trying to make certain units counter certain units, there are oversights such as Onubagation. I still don't know if I like Elite Army Tactics as, in its current form as the end state idea for the tech, because I don't like us going back to Jack of all trading civs. Like when gunpowder units got +8 damage, I thought that was just lame. I much prefer the change they made where you now have the powder, the serpentine powder, so you get extra damage against infantry. He's just so suffocating here. Great Bombard has started to knock at the door. In fact, double Great Bombard. Villagers are going to be repairing onto the outposts. There is a few men-at-arms to the south side that can maybe force some pressure. But in the meantime, Beastie decides to dive into the north. B's army is a lot bigger. Beastie is playing that macro game he's been infamously known for over the years. Ottomans benefiting from these trades. Remember, whenever you're 200 pop, you want to fight. Otherwise, your military schools are not working. Cost of villages, though, I'm not sure you feel great about that. Other tricky part is the Great Bombards can clear the way, but he still needs to bring units down here to decap the sites. And cheeky Beastie. He sneaks a few right into the back corner to wait for everything to die down on these raids and then return. But then arms to get cleared. The spring wall's actually doing quite well. Did he go for the shut trigger tech? No. I don't know. I haven't really seen many people going for it, even when they've got this many springles at this stage. Like, you gotta feel it's worth it. A 25% increase in attack speed is pretty damn nice. Ah, keep drop. That's gonna be nice. On the south side, able to get his hands on the gold. Cannon placement is on the way, but the Great Bombards will be able to deny. A lot of coverings come from Beastie. 4 in play, 2 more in queue. So that means per salvo is going to do 160 damage. Great Bombards only have, what, 210 health? 250, okay. So 2 flurries kill a Great Bombard. But the extra range does make it difficult. And we are back in on the farms. He's like, oh, you've come out of the base, have you? Don't mind me. Oh my god, it's not just that wave, though. Check this, the horseman. B, he never repaired the wall. Sabah, you have to react to this. Surely, like, where are they? Right now, it's just the Janissaries. No, instead, he sends the Sipahi south side. He needs that decap. Second keep drop now coming in. Beastie's finally getting elite army tactic. It's been a long wait, but this is sick. He's going into knights as well. At 30 minutes in the game, you wouldn't expect it, especially against the Ottomans. Janissary is just such an inherent counter. The farms aren't working, but at this stage, he doesn't care, right? He's max pop. So actually being more than like 90 villagers doesn't matter. Not being able to access the farms is painful, though. Dive coming in. Villagers, they're repairing onto the culverins. Dive through, and the Sipahi. She better find almost all the siege. 1 remaining. siege creep continues from B. Beastie needs a hell of a lot more horsemen here. But he's starting to defend the herd. Remember, B, he was defending back at home with the Janissaries, which means there's actually no anti-cav here. Marches in, starts to mop the floor of them. Still needs to send more, though. B, it's not a 200 pop anymore. Remember, the passive production needs to be assisted by active. Next wave of supply is on the way. Sacred Site timer now down to 2 minutes, and the more annoying thing is the cannon emplacements everywhere, including the fact that the relic is buffing the damage output. Let's make it so hard for the supply dive. Not to mention the double keep, the boiling on. Also on top of that, he's got E-repairs coming off cooldown in 5 seconds. And the Great Bombards can't hang around. Knights right in on both sides. Siege gets disintegrated. And with it, B's hopes of coming back here. Keep is still alive. Are you actually kidding me? The Knights get in. The Great Bombards can't do it. And B now finds himself in the most uncomfortable positions. 2-0 down in a best of 5. Unbelievable game. The way that played out in the last 3 minutes. I mean, B, there was a semblance of hope there for a moment, but that Knight switch was vile. Against Janissaries, against Ottomans of all civs. It's such a dangerous commitment. But it got him the one tap he needed to wipe the siege count. And now B is back in a bind with no way out. Remaster is going to take too long here. His income just doesn't allow him to reblob to 200. And of course, passive sounds OP, but in theory, it's just slow. So we will head to a third game with B's back fully up against the wall. Japanese and Ottomans, two of his craftiest civs, his cheeky shenanigans, if you will, both removed from the arsenal, both failing in the face of Beastie.